Hi everybody and welcome to today's tutorial. My name is Havran and I'm going to show you how I recorded podcast over internet into two separate tracks so I can do post-processing for each voice separately. In order to make this work, we need a few key components, and the first one is obviously an external sound card. I'm personally using Focusrite Scarlette 6i6 second generation. And not only because it gives me 6 inputs and 6 outputs to work with, but also it comes with a software that is crucial for this operation. The control software allows me to change the way how the sound travels inside the sound card, and it makes a feature, if we do it correctly, that is usually only available in high-end sound cards or mixer boards. And the feature we want to have is called internal feedback loop. Basically, we want to have our output to look like it's an input, and we can do that thanks to this software, and I'm going to teach you this. But before we do that, we need to go over the other things that we need, and one of them is obviously a recording software. I'm personally using PreSonus Studio One 4 Professional. It costs 400 euros and you don't need to have it. You can work with any DAW, that means digital audio workstation, basically any recording software that allows you to choose which input you want to have for each track. You can use Pro Tools, you can use Cubase, it doesn't matter. If you have anything already, that's good. If you don't have and don't have money to spend, I recommend you to get Reaper. Reaper is for free, it's a great software. I will put a link down in the description. So if you don't have anything yet, you can start with a free and good one. Obviously, when I'm going to show you my interface, the buttons will look differently. There will be different design schemes and colors will be different, but that's just how it looks. The inner workings of the both recording softwares are basically the same. And the last thing we need, that's the software you are going to use to call the other person that you are going to interview for the podcast. And this is the tricky part, because I only tested this one with Zoom. It should work with Skype as well, or if you have a WhatsApp, Viber, Facebook, Messenger calls, whatever, it should work. But I'm not 100% certain because I didn't test it with all the options. So I'm going to show you how to do it with Zoom. And Zoom is paid, as you may or may not know. But there is one great thing. If you are using Zoom with only one another person, there is no limitation in time. If you want to have a conference call with 3 or more people, you will get cut out after 40 minutes if you are using a free version. But even with a free version, if you are calling with only one another person, you will not get cut out and you can do 2, 3, 4 hour calls, no problem, as you wish. I actually done this. I don't have my Zoom account in the premium at the moment. I have a free version and I've done a 2.5 hour podcast recording over the Zoom with this method. So I'm going to show you how to set up your sound card. I'm going to show you how to set up your recording software and how to set up your Zoom. You can obviously try it with different things, but it's up to you if it's going to work or not. I'm putting my name and my hands only on these 3 things that I have tested myself. And now we go to Zoom. We go to the bottom left hand side corner and we do have this mute my audio and start video buttons. But what we are more interested in is this little arrow, and if you click it, you have a menu now, and you can see I have selected Focusrite USB as my microphone input and also Focusrite USB as my main sound output. This means that when I'm going to speak to the microphone, I have connected with my interface. Zoom will be getting the sound directly from it, and it doesn't matter how I have it set up in the Focusrite control. And also the sound will be going out to the Focusrite and out from the headphones, and it doesn't matter how it's set up in the Focusrite control. And as I'm speaking about the Focusrite control, let's look into that one next. Now, in here you can see that my Focusrite control has one analog input, second one, third one, and fourth one. The second one is currently the microphone that I'm talking to, and you can see the sound going up and down. You can also see the playback. Playback 1 and 2 means the main monitoring speakers. Playback 3 and 4 is the loop that is going from the analog output. And to make this work, I'm going to remove the analog 2, and you can still hear me, but it's not showing in here. And you can still see that the voice is going up and down from the speakers. But as I removed this, that means that as the sound will be going out through the playback 3 and 4, it will be showing in analog 3 and 4. And let me just do a quick setting change. I'm going to take the cables and plug them in the back of the Scarlette interface, and you will see a change. And now I have plugged my cables from the playback 3 and 4 into inputs 3 and 4. And now you can see they are also raising in volume as I'm speaking. And this is the feedback loop that allows for the recording in the Studio One. And that is going to be the next thing I'm going to show you. And now we go into the Studio One. As you can see, I do have a project opened. It's a podcast episode I was recording with my friend. And you can see that I have for mic number 1, input number 2, and for mic number 2, which is down here, input number 4. Which is basically my microphone plugged in the front of the Focusrite with the phantom power turned on. And in the back we have the feedback loop, and that is the input number 4. And this is how it sounds like. Wow, that's nice. I do love the firing range. I spend a lot of time in there. I try to get all the goals. I'm not able to yet. Mostly because of the limited range of Nintendo Switch. A lot of targets just, and that's mostly for the long range kills like sniper rifles. They don't even render, so it's really hard to hit something if you can't see it. I understand that the Switch is basically just a tablet, so it's not easy for the developers to even out the performance with like Xbox. I have no idea what's the current most powerful version. I'm not a console player, but I do love the firing range a lot. And talking about the customizations of the shelter, I wish for that since the day one.
Yes, I remembered I saw they had a folder for a while that said customizations for the shelter, and then they removed it. But I was looking forward to see something. At least you can change. Maybe it doesn't have to be that extreme. Just like maybe change the painting on the house itself. Maybe the tiles on the roof. Maybe if you want, you can have some tinted glass windows, like in red or something. Just
As you can see, my voice and my friend's voice are clearly separated. And for example, if I didn't like this he was doing, I can just cut it out and delete it. And now you can hear me without any interruptions. All the goals I'm not able to yet, mostly because of the limited range of Nintendo Switch. A lot of targets just, and that's mostly. And this is the powerful thing about this method, because Zoom can record audio and video. You can use software like OBS to record video and audio, but if you do that, it will be all crammed into one track. One track you can't do nothing with. I do have a clip from Zoom recording I'm going to show you now. This is the same section that we were just listening to in the Studio One as a podcast episode.
maybe the tiles on the roof. Maybe if you want, you can have some tinted glass windows, like in red or something. Just make it a little bit more you know?
Because me coming from Daisy, and the camera is a little frozen, but what's important is that if we go to audio, there is only one track. One track for both of these. So if there is any overtalk, I can address it. If I want to do a separate equalization, and I do have that, I can do it. As you can see, for my voice, I use channel strip and de-esser. But for my friend, I also use an equalization, because his microphone had a little worse sound, a little too much in the highs and a little too low mids and lows, so I had to boost this and cut out this. And I'm going to show you that just in a moment.
I reload them, and then I try to take out as fast as I can all the scarecrows.
And this is how it sounds after the post-production and before the post-production.
To start to get rid of getting, quick snap aim, getting ready for long range, close range, and everything. And I run around in the firing range, sort of like a on the move.
I wouldn't be able to do this if I were to use only one track recording. So this is the very powerful thing that you can do if you set it up correctly. So now guys, one more time. My sound goes from the microphone through the interface to the computer, but here the Focusrite Control, we delete the input number 2 and we set up 2 more outputs, 3 and 4, that are linked with the inputs 3 and 4, and we do it here. This is the feedback loop that is important. 3 connected to 3, 4 connected to 4. That means that when our friend is going to call us from Zoom, his audio will go to computer, and thanks to this, it gets picked up from the output, and then we can import it as an input in here that I showed you in a Studio One. So, number 1, microphone, and pick it up here, and also directly from here. And number 2, zoom, feedback loop, don't forget the cables, and don't forget this one, and then you can record it as a separated track.